Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus early this morning, and this is a Saturday morning, probably August 1st, 2020. I'm out this morning because I've had some dealings that have caused me to toss and turn most of the night last night. And I've asked myself, what can I do? I even turned over and asked myself, how could I talk to God? I mean, I've heard the prayers. I've heard, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I've heard all of these things. I've also heard that if you believe in God, you can lay your hands on the sick and they will recover. At least I read that, and I've heard people talk about that. And I've seen men after men lay their hands on the sick, praying that they would recover. And having prayed, they were still sick. And even those who said they saw some remission, they ended up having it again. So I asked myself, what is this thing that's going on? If the Bible says that if I lay my hands on the sick and they will recover, and I do it and they don't recover, does it mean that I'm not connected to God, or does it mean that somebody was lying to me? Well, we can argue about this and that forever. But when I ask myself, what do I really want? I'm not ashamed of what I want. I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Eddie Marcus. I used to be named Eddie Porter. But when I was about 17 years old, 18 years old, getting ready possibly to go to Vietnam, because, people didn't think about a lot of blacks going to college. So my uncle said he wanted to adopt me. He had one other son, but he wanted to adopt me so that the property that he had, whenever he expired, he wanted to give it to someone, and he wanted to leave it to his son and me, because I was basically raised with them, his mother, which happened to be my great-grandmother. And so it was set up and I was adopted. I switched from Eddie Porter to Eddie Marcus. And I want you to know that when my uncle who adopted me did pass, his property went to his sibling, not to me or his son. These are the things that happens in life. I'm not angry today. I was a little upset at that moment. I'm not going to try to tell you I wasn't. But I want you to know who I am. I'm a little black boy walking around here in a t-shirt now. I'm old. I ain't got them nice shoulders I'd like to show you, but I'm showing you me. And I'm raised here in Itta Bena, Mississippi. Itta Bena, Mississippi. I grew up in this town, and I couldn't wait to get away because it was so immersed in poverty, and it just didn't have a future to offer. So rather than try to come up and plan something for the future, I ran. And I've been running all my life. But I come back here and I find out that Pitts Memorial Garden is the cemetery where most of us have been buried, and we're still being buried there. And a lot of times you look out there and grass needs to be cut down. It gets care, but not the kind of care we would always hope. In other words, not the care you go downtown on the other side and you will see that it gets care. I mean, real care. It's polished and manicured. All of the gravestones can be identified. And that's the way it is. And ladies and gentlemen, it's not so for my brothers and my sisters that lives on the other side of the track. We live in the ghetto. Our streets need paving. I don't know when they had the last facelift. Our towns are suffering. Our children, our brothers, and our sisters that are young have nothing to do. And oftentimes they find themselves trying to commit crime or committing crimes just looking for an out. Oh boy, they got jails and prisons for them, and people putting statistics talking about how no good they are. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying this to you because this is a presidential election, and I want you to vote for me. Yes, I want you to vote for me, and I want you to know me. I am black, and as far as I'm concerned, as black as I can get. I got a few people in my family that's a little darker, but we all black. And I'm broke. I'm broke. I might have $50 to my name, and I have no more money than that. And I've accepted this fact for 40 years. Why? Because I want better. And better to me is not just better for myself. Better for me means every human being in America. That's the start. And having come to a successful point in that, then it means success better for every human being alive. That's what I want. That's what I want. I don't know if God wants that or not. I used to believe that God wants that. I used to believe that people who believed in God would want that. But I've gone around the country and I've expressed the opportunity for something better than that. And I find out that I'm usually out there by myself. That's the way it is, ladies and gentlemen. But we have now a president, the United States president, Donald Trump. All of my living days, I've seen dogs and holes and people being beat down by powers that be. And I see that some of that stuff, they hid it. The animosity and the hatred that was there to cause that and allowed that to happen in the past still remains, but for some strange reason, they put up a law that says we're going to cut it out. And so for the most part, they cut it out, some of it. But the hate, that envy, that heartlessness still remained in the people. And it was expressed through the presidency of Donald Trump. He wants to take us back to the point when we have the dogs on us again, the fire hoses on us again, the police beating us down. That's what he wants. And many of you think that it's despicable, and you would not vote for Donald Trump for president if you were forced to. You just gonna vote for the Democrats because they will be different. I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, do not vote for Republicans or Democrats. Why? Because they can't even come up to my standards. And how can you reduce your standards so low that you can accept what they offer? Let me be specific, ladies and gentlemen. This is not just some new vision. Ever since 1988, every presidential election since then, I have entered into that election and asked the people to consider Eddie Marcus as the next president of the United States and to give me your vote. And every time I had to do that as a write-in. I did it as a write-in because Republicans don't want you to have freedom. The Republicans don't want you to have peace and love. Neither do Democrats. I ask you, in all of these years that I've been living, have you ever experienced that from either party? Even though they keep promising, promises, but every year after the election is over, you're still making a minimum wage. You're still living in poverty. Your cities and towns are still invested with crime and violence. And the police are still there to force you to adhere to the basic principles that they have set, whether it works for you or not. Isn't that enough? What does it take to wake you up? You think about the religious movement, again, the churches. When I went around saying, vote for me, and I tried to explain myself in such a way that those who study God would absolutely understand what I'm saying, but the outcome was we are Republicans or we are Democrats. And so whatever I was speaking about, I could call it the biblical stuff, I could call it the God stuff, but it did not matter. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to call it anything today, but it's me. It is me. What do I want? I want to see you happy. And what do I think that entails? I think it entails the same thing that would make me happy. I want some peace in my life. I want some prosperity in my life. I want some freedom in my life. I want to see my dreams fulfilled and joy. I want that. And I'm dumb enough to believe that you would be satisfied with that too. I realize right now, ladies and gentlemen, you don't think that it's possible. You have been convinced to believe that in order for that to happen, you gotta die. And there's a heaven someplace. And I'm not gonna argue that. But I'm talking about right here, right now. I know these things are possible. I know why they don't exist. And I'm standing up, ladies and gentlemen, saying I'm not gonna accept that. I'm standing up against that, and I'm standing up for exactly what I just mentioned to you. What do I mean when I say that? I mean that those things that are essential for your survival, like food, clothing, and shelter, I don't want to ever see an American citizen at a shelter, at a food shelf. I don't want to ever see an American citizen denied education for one reason or another when they choose it. I don't ever want to see an American citizen needing health care and can't get it. And I'm tired, and I don't want to see people ripping folks off, trying to take advantage of them at every turn. You're sick, they're trying to make up false medicine, trying to tell you it'll work just to get money from you, because money has been set as a tool that would allow you to step out of this hell that we've been in. Well, I want you to step out of this hell, ladies and gentlemen, that we live in by simply going to the polls and voting for a new way. And you're not going to get it from anybody else that's running right now, this day, except unless you vote for me. Now, some people say, well, do you deserve better? I'll tell you the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. You do not deserve better. You deserve the hell you got. You deserve it because you accept it. Whether you voted for it or not, you deserve the hell you got because you're saying it's okay. And when you say it's not okay, you still put up with it. So the hell you're living today, whether you are a Republican or whether you are a Democrat, you deserve that hell. I'm offering you an opportunity to prove that you deserve better. Yes, I'm asking you on November 3rd, don't worry about this crap that Donald Trump is talking about. Let us, with our efforts and our actions, prove that his day is over. Not only let us prove that Donald Trump's day is over and the Republican Party's days is over, let us prove that the Democratic Party is over. And the system and what it has advocated up to this period is not enough for us. It's not acceptable. Today, we want the real stuff. We want life, and we want life abundantly. We want to make sure that every last one of us have an opportunity to exercise our gifts, to participate in the creative process of all of those things that are essential for survival, those things that I have just mentioned to you. And since we play a part in that creative process, it makes us part owners, and nobody's giving us nothing. We are making our own way, and we're going to do it together, ladies and gentlemen. And you listen, I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, I am not going to take it, and you don't have to take it. But if you do take it, it's exactly what you deserve. Now, I want you to say, the Democrats, you look at the Republicans. You think the Republicans are despicable, and they are. But what makes you think you're better? You hear Trump saying we're going to lift up the white folks again, put them back in their suburbia where they don't have to worry about anything about segregation and housing and laws that have been passed to affect other people's pain. Nah. That's kind of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have to look at that. But the Democrats, look at you, ladies Democrats. Ever since the United States have been established, black people and people of color have suffered under Republicans and under Democrats. Under Republicans and under Democrats. You deserve better? Why would you go to the polls and vote for a Republican or a Democrat? Why? Because you think, or you've been taught, that this one black man out of the cotton fields of Mississippi with less than $100 in his account, who has no more money than that, who has been living continuously because someone else has fed him, housed him, you think that makes me ineligible to stand up for what's right? I realize that health care is essential for everybody, and we want the best professionals dealing with our health care, who are concerned about cures, not just putting a bandage on it. This morning I had to put a bandage on my finger. I had a blister there. Kept me up most of the night. Got me thinking about coming out here talking to you just like I'm talking, saying to you the kinds of things that I'm saying to you. And I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, it's real for me. I was on Valley State University just yesterday. I ended up stopping by the football stadium. It's renamed for one of the athletes that came from there, Jerry Rice. They call it Rice Tatum Stadium, something like that. I'm not sure if I'm getting it right. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't want and I don't trust another human being to care for me, to put up for me, to stand up for me like righteousness does. Not only that, I don't trust another individual. I don't trust another human being, a political party, anything to stand up for your rights. Look at it. The black man in America, they want to say $15 an hour, and that's a stand up. And yet a Mexican can come over here and do the same work, and you want to pay that Mexican $5 an hour because that Mexican needs it, and you abuse him, exploit that Mexican. No, my friends, I'm tired of that stuff. I do not want to live in a world like that. And if I have to live in a world like that, I don't want to live in that world. And America is the world just like that I have been living in for this 70 years. And I'm not concerned about 71. I want to see this thing change, or I want to die. Because I'm not going to step up and just continue to say, God, 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 God. And that God, God, God means no more than what I've just explained to you, what I've been going through, what you have been going through. If that God does not give me enough courage to stand up, to speak to you in such a way that you will dare to stand up so that we can make this thing right, then it has no purpose. Listen, for me, when George Floyd was murdered in Minnesota by the powers that be, the white structured government, by the powers that be using the military, the same military that put his knee on George Floyd, choked the life out of him. And a few days later, when protesters were saying we were upset, the government sent out National Guardsmen, put out policemen to beat down people who say we're fed up. And they're saying you gotta take it whether you like it or not, or we're gonna bust your head, we're gonna break your leg, we're gonna put you in jail. All of these things they're gonna do to you, but they're not gonna change things, and you're gonna go to the polls and vote for them. What does that say about you? What does that say about you who have been in bondage for over 400 years, and after that period of time when you have been speaking about your time has come, you're getting up going to the polls voting for that same old animosity and hell that you've been going through all the time? What does that say about you? It says that you deserve what you get. Can't get around it. I know you got black politicians right now who are Democrats. You even got Republicans who are fed over Trump, and they're telling you that they're going to vote Democrat. And what is that all about? Do they care about you? Of course not. Do they care about your livelihood? Of course not. Do they care about your children? Of course not. They just tired of Trump. Do they have any plans to make any changes? I heard Biden say something about building up the middle class. What the heck does that mean? To say that you're going to build up the middle class means that you got a class that's above the middle class, and it also means you got a class that's under the middle class. There ain't no more classes, ladies and gentlemen. It's time over for that. It is time that we stand up as a people. We stand up for a nation of people who say, we are not going to take this stuff anymore. We're going to protect one another. We're going to look out for one another. We don't need a police to do it. We give justice, and where there is justice, there is peace. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, I'm taking this moment. I plan on saying something a little bit different today, and I'll probably come back and still say something a little bit different, but it will be on these lines. It's just that at this moment and at this time, I find myself out here saying this to you because it's necessary that I say it to you. So I'm asking Barack Obama. I'm asking Michelle Obama. I'm asking those who are senators within the United States government. I'm asking those who are in the House of Representatives. I'm asking you, black people, people of color, stand up, walk out of those different parties, and let us stand up for what's right. I know you think you're somebody because you're in office, but I want to tell you, you're nobody when you're standing up or going along with the kinds of things that we the people have to endure every day. We get sick. They won't even let us, they'll kill our animals get sick. We will put them to sleep so they don't have to suffer. And yet we will have to suffer every pain until the life just finally just drip out of us, and we won't even help us. No, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for that stuff to end. You might not like what I'm saying, and I don't care if you don't. But this is what I want, and this is what I'm standing up for, and this is what I represent. And everyone who can go along and continue to follow the same path that you've been following all the time, I don't care what kind of degrees you got, I don't care what stage you are, I think you are out of your mind. In fact, some people would call you downright stupid. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let you do that yourself. You can call yourself downright stupid. And you might say, well, if you think I'm going to vote for you, I'm more stupid. Well, that might be true. But that I'll claim. I'll claim that. And I won't feel ashamed. And when I look back and see you still going through these kinds of pains and sufferings that you have to go through, I hold up my hand and say, I give. That's what you want. That's what you got, and you can have it. But ladies and gentlemen, before I get to that point, I want you to go to the polls and vote Eddie Marcus, a write-in candidate. I have to write in. Why? Because, once again, the Republicans don't care about you that much. Democrats don't care about you that much. And your politicians that you have chosen to represent you do not care about you that much. But I do. Because without your life, being beautiful like I want my life, then there is no life. So I ask, ladies and gentlemen, go to YouTube, go to Facebook. I've got thousands of videos there because I've been expressing this for over 40 years. There's no secret in my game. And I want you to know that I can say these things to you because as ignorant as you are, I've been more ignorant. As stupid as you are, I've been more stupid. But I must say, a change has been made in my life, and it came with being fed up with this repetition of abuse. I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this much of your time. And I'll be coming back a little bit later on, probably with a shirt on, but no tie. And I want to thank you for giving me your time. Goodbye for now.